Alright, welcome back to Always All Drive. It's been a while since we've done a bit of filming at an actual campsite. Where we're camping along the beautiful Macquarie River at Amy Anderson Reserve along the Bridle track. And check out these shots. What a cracker spot. I'd rather be nowhere else right now. I thought I'd take the chance to give you guys just a bit of a rundown on the Ford Territory rig itself, how we decked it out for camping, and I thought I'd also give you a couple of honest thoughts on the lift kit now that I've actually used the car in seriousness for the last couple of weeks now. So I recommend we crack open a couple of cold ones and let's get stuck into it. Alright, so let's start at the back of the vehicle. The first thing that you'll probably notice, and I did touch on this in one of my previous videos, is how we do our water situation. This is a 20-litre water jerry can that's mounted onto a custom homemade bike rack with the jerry can holder onto a bike rack onto a tow hitch. Nice and easy. Now, most importantly, I get asked, how do I access everything? Oh, well, have a look at this. Use the glass and you very carefully open everything. Open it with two hands and then there you go. I normally keep this open all the time camping. I don't even close it until I go to bed, and it gives really easy access to all the gear in the back, which is now where we're going to go. So I want to get stuck into the storage situation in the back of the vehicle. As you can see, I've got 3 drawers. I picked them up from Big W for 20 bucks a piece. They're really cheap. I store, it's almost like a pantry, our pots, our pans, our cooking stuff, like cleaning items and things like that. Getting started into this, I would recommend grab yourself a pair of these. Much cheaper than grabbing like one of those Titan drawers and things like that. You do find over time though, especially on the top one, as you can see here, it does start to wear out. These are used pretty heavily, so in the future, yes, I might end up upgrading them onto a bit more of a formal system. But I've had these in the back of the vehicle for a year now, and as you can see, they work really well. And even when I pull out the drawer here, they're really deep. They're a lot deeper than you think it is. One other thing I really like is that you can tie these down with hockey straps as well, using the mounting points in the back of the car. And I've taken this really hard wheeling, and as you can see, the drawers have held up, and I've also got some cool added space on the left hand side and the top to keep my recovery gear, my jump starters, my tarp and things like that. Okay, so sticking to the back of the vehicle, I'm going to talk about my fridge. We have an Adventure Kings 65-litre fridge. It's the previous generation one from what they have on their website. We paid around 280 bucks for it back in December of 2022. And as you can see, it is big, it fits everything we need, it doesn't really ice up that bad. And for an Adventure Kings product, and I know what the reputation is, it's been fantastic. We've taken this tens of thousands of kilometers all around Australia, the outback, the snow. You've seen all the videos where this has been in. Never ever let us down. And the beauty is that it only sips power as well. So you're looking at an amp or 2 amps an hour tops, especially when you fill it up. So I gotta say, very pleased with the fridge, and you'll probably be seeing it on a lot more camp trips as well, but absolutely good with it. The last thing to talk about, I have talked about it a bit more in my recent videos, but I thought it's always worth touching on the 12-volt system that I run in the vehicle. So the battery is a 170 amp hour AGM battery. I upgraded from 115 around a year ago, hasn't missed a beat. That is connected to a 40 amp hour DC to DC charger that gets topped up as I drive. In addition, I've also got a 5.6 amp solar panel on top that, as we're speaking right now, is topping everything up. And I have to admit, I've not had to touch this one bit. I installed this back in August of 2023 last year. Not once do I have to touch it. All I do is that I run a fridge cable from the Anderson into the back. So every time we get ready for touring and things like that, I put it in the fridge, I plug it in, and I go. I've not even had to think about the system. This is a completely DIY system that I built all myself, just using resources on the internet. Yes, I know I keep on saying I will make a video on this. I do want to redo a bit of it. I've got a new Vitron, a power management system that I would like to install and just make it a bit more neater as well. You would have seen I've got an inverter here. Now, unfortunately, because I didn't wire my solar panel very well, water actually would drip over the inverter and eventually fried it. So as much as I love the inverter, I will have to update it. But all that means is that I've got to go from a 500 watt to a 1500 watt. But if you've got a Ford Territory and you want to get started into inverters and you don't have a subwoofer, because I do believe that the real Territories do have a subwoofer, think about mounting your inverter back there, because I feel that it was almost made for the vehicle. All right, so that wraps up everything we take in the back of the vehicle. I thought I'm going to start moving more forward. As you can see, we run a June side awning. I believe it is 2 meters by 2 meters. As I found out on my last camp trip, it is absolutely not enough. I am thinking of upgrading to a 180-degree awning. That will be a really cool upgrade. But we only paid us 70 bucks for this again back in December or November 2022. It's held up really well. Unfortunately, it has been picked up by the wind a few times, and that means that I have bent the mounting points in it. So yes, this is due for an update, but for an absolute budget option, if you want to get into this lifestyle, I couldn't recommend this enough. It is a fantastic addition to your vehicle. On top of it, I run 2 max tracks. I know they're not the actual max tracks, they are a June full drive brand, and I use Oki straps to strap them down. I also add a shovel on top as well, as you can see. So the shovel mounts on there really nicely. And then of course, as I mentioned before, I've got a solar panel on the front. That is all mounted onto a platform that I picked up quite affordably off Marketplace. And as you can see, it does the job. I wire everything up there, and then it allows me to carry the swag and other items on top of the vehicle as well. Moving to sleeping arrangements. I mentioned in my previous video that I've gone to a swag. And I know I touched about this on my Bridle track video, but I wanted to give you a bit more of a rundown on the swag itself. So I've got a King Titan Deluxe swag from Anaconda, the June brand. No, I'm not happy with it. It leaks like a sieve all around the edges. I have weatherproofed it. I've done, the water soaking and everything like that. If you're wanting to get started into it, as long as you're not camping in the rain, it's fine. But unfortunately, when we got rained out on one of our previous camps, it just leaked water everywhere. I did see online that you could add some clear silicone around the PVC edges. And if anyone else has any more tips on how to waterproof these things, I am all ears. But I have to admit, I paid 180 bucks for it. It fits me and the missus really comfortably, and of course it fits myself really comfortably. So for a budget option, it's fine. But if you're wanting to do this a bit more seriously, I would highly recommend upgrade to Crashpad, Dachu, or anything. There's more reputable higher end brands, because the last thing you want is to wake up and all your goods and everything is in a puddle. I just want to touch a little bit on how we cook and how we feed ourselves. One is, again, Adventure King's fold out table. It's actually pretty cool. We've used it on a few trips now. Just be careful that this is a very slippery surface. We've had food fall on the ground once before. We don't want that to happen again. You've seen this on a few other videos too. I've got this awesome Japanese fold out cooker as well. It was originally like 200 Australian dollars, but I got it half price. It fits anywhere in the drawers. It's an awesome cooker, and I couldn't imagine life without it now. I've got just a basic Kmart whistling kettle. Be careful, it can burn. Tiny little chopping board that also sits in the back of the Big W drawers. Cool knife that sharpens itself, but it is getting on a little bit. And of course, just an old IKEA pan. Nice, easy, efficient. It just works, to be honest.
What does the fox say?
Just touching on a few more camping items. This is a fold out fire pit. Yes, you can use an existing fire pit, but I personally love the fold out fire pits. The main reason is that if it's raining, if it's windy, anything like that, you can just move the fire around. You're not beholden to one location. You're not moving your vehicles around or things like that. I reckon this is an absolute game changer. As I mentioned in a previous video as well, it's really thin, it fits anywhere. I actually slot this between the fridge and the drawers as well, so it takes up next to no space at all. Now, just going back a bit more too, I've got some camp chairs. It's just basic Oz Trail. This is the Emperor chair, in my opinion. I think it's really cool. Yeah, so it's just a couple of Oz Trail chairs. They fit in the back of the vehicle really easily. You can also ratchet strap them up on the roof if you want. They weigh almost nothing. And I mean, there's not much more to really explain that they are a chair. They are comfortable, and they have a holder for beverages. So now that we've covered all the camping stuff, how we've organized everything, keep our food nice and cold, how do we actually get to these really cool campsites? So the main modification I've done to the exterior of the vehicle is this nudge bar. It's an ARB nudge bar. It's paired with a couple of King's spotties. They're fine, they do the job really well. So, we've gone through the vehicle, we've gone through how we set up camp, how we sleep, how we become comfortable, and of course, most importantly, how we keep our beer nice and cold. Oh, How good is that? I want to just talk a little bit about the vehicle itself. So, of course, it is a 2006 Ford Territory. I have lifted it around 2 inches, and it's that added ground clearance that really helps us get to all these really cool places and things like that. Now, for those at home who are thinking of doing the same thing, my tip would be don't start on a 2-inch lift. Don't start going all gung-ho on that. If you start lifting it a lot, you will expose issues and weaknesses that might cost you a lot more than you realize. My advice, start small. Start on your stock Territory, maybe throw on some all-terrains and get out there. Give it a go. The missus and I drove all around Australia without any lift. They just road tires and it was fine. We had an absolute ball of the time. And if you're thinking of maybe getting a bit more rougher terrain, a 1-inch lift will not compromise the rest of your drivetrain, so you won't expose upper ball joint issues and things like that. Start with the 1-inch all-terrain tires, and check out this picture. This is of a member of the Ford Territory camping and off-road group, and look how beastie that looks. That looks really cool, doesn't it? And that's only a 1-inch lift with all-terrains, the Falcon. And in my opinion, that's all you really need to get started. Now, if you really feel you're doing river crossings and really hardcore wheeling, as I've started doing now, then think about the 2-inch lift. But be prepared to spend a bit, because you might expose CV issues, upper ball joint issues that were already there, because you are going to be putting a lot of strain and a lot of pressure on your worn driveline component, especially if you're only buying a Territory for a few grand off auction or marketplace and things like that. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. Okay, so as you can see, we're along the Macquarie River. I have a beer in my hand, which means that the day is getting on. We're going to start cooking very soon. I hope you enjoyed just a little small rig rundown. Plans for the future, we've got some really epic Aussie adventures that I cannot wait to share with you guys, and so they'll be coming up in the next couple of months. But until then, get out there, no matter what vehicle you have, Territory, X-Trail, you know, a Subaru, anything with all 4 wheels, come out and enjoy the great outdoors. I mean, as a bit of a small sneak preview, my mate has actually taken his Golf everywhere that I've actually gone here and on my previous snow trip. So in my opinion, even if you've got a Golf, doesn't matter. Grab a tent and get out. So I'll see you guys next time.